there. Hi, I'm Shelli Johnson in Lander, Wyoming, and I am going to interview Sydney, a woman here in Lander who's an endurance athlete and just completed a pretty major ski event. Thanks for listening. Hi, Sydney.
Hi, Shelli.
Thanks for making time for me on a Sunday. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Maybe first you could tell me your full name because I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
It's Sydney Thielke. Yeah.
How old are you?
I am 28.
28. And what do you do here in Lander?
I am a GIS specialist at the Bureau of Land Management.
Good.
I make maps.
How long have you been in Lander?
Just over 4 years, I think. I have to
Okay.
think about that. We
Yeah.
moved up here in 2007.
Okay. Where did you move here from?
I'm originally from Homer, Alaska.
Wow.
And then I spent 5 years in Bozeman, Montana, going to school. And then I went to graduate school in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Wow, you make sure and pick the good. Those are all awesome places, including Lander.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know how to pick them. So I understand you're a great athlete and you're really into the outdoors. So maybe you could tell me what your pursuits are.
Skiing is definitely my number one. I've skied since I learned to walk. So
Cross-country skiing?
all of the above. So
Okay.
cross-country, down alpine, telemark, anything that involves 2 sticks and sliding on snow, I really like. And then really enjoy biking. Probably is my second main focus. Rafting, and then kind of anything else outside, hiking, team sports.
Okay.
I enjoy it all. I started skiing in 1983.
At what age?
I was probably about 18 months old.
That's amazing. Were your parents, you come from a family of active skiers? Or?
Yep. Yeah, my family has always skied and I mean, we didn't even have snowshoes at that point. Everyone just had skis, and so
18 months, like a year and a half old.
Yeah,
You were still in diapers, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, and I had 3 older cousins and an older sister that were all really close and lived close to one another growing up, and so the hand-me-downs were, just kind of kept pouring in, and so I always wanted to chase everybody else around, and I turned 1 and started walking, and that was in September, and then in December or so there was snow on the ground, and they said, well, put her on skis. I think I probably spent more time in a sled behind my parents, but
right.
We've got photos.
That's awesome. So do you think your love for the outdoors comes from way back, that early exposure? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, my parents were the type of people that were, hey kids, go outside and play, and making mud pies and that kind of stuff was our forte, and climbing trees and everything, and fishing in the summers, and so I chased everyone else, and I mean, totally followed in the footsteps of my cousins were on the ski team, my sister was on the ski team. It was, kind of did everything they did.
Yeah.
I still do everything they do.
Yeah, what I want to know about right now is tell me about what you're just returning from, what event you just did.
I just skied the American Birkebeiner, which I've wanted to ski since I was about 12 years old, I think is when I first learned about it. It's just part of the World Loppet series, so it's a 51-kilometer ski race from Cable, Wisconsin to Hayward, Wisconsin.
How many miles is 51K?
It's about 31
31
miles.
miles ski, folks. Sorry, I always have to get the conversion there.
There's actually a bunch of different races that go on at once, but out of the starting line that I left out of that morning, there were about 8,800 competitors.
Oh my gosh. So how many total, you think?
In the Birkie itself, I think it was just over 5,000. My wave alone was over 500 people at in the starting gate.
A little bit of a cluster.
Yeah, I mean, it was like watching poles just snap right before your eyes.
Oh my gosh. So I want to hear about the event, including the exciting start with you. What was going through your mind? Were you excited to finally be tackling this big goal? Or?
I was so excited, and we got there just in time. We had tried to get early. I wanted to watch the elite starts. There were some folks I had raced with in high school that were doing the elite race, and I just started crying, and my husband was like, "You are such a sissy, like, really?"
So it was emotional, though?
Yeah, I mean, it was something I'd wanted to do since I was 12. I've been training for the last 8 months, and then I'm going to start crying now.
Yeah, I understand.
And there were definitely some challenges, and there were some, wonderful moments. It was really cold. When I started, it was -8.
Yeah, so for the record, -8 in the Midwest is colder than -8 here, right?
Yeah, much. I mean, just that, like, the air is so thick, it's so humid. It had, lightly been snowing, and actually for the majority of the race we had that like very light snow. So it was, not only was it cold, you were getting wet, and we've had a great winter here, and so I kind of had a training system I was used to with a water bottle packed with Perpetuum and hammer gel, and it froze right away. From then on, it was just really neat. Like, I mean, the noise, it was so loud because there were so many people, and so to try and like find your own rhythm was really a hard thing because it was just, and people falling left and right. And then from there, it was just, basically just the skiers, and then you come to an aid station.
Right.
So I had a pretty big wall, but a lot of people did. But it was amazing nonetheless. And, I mean, you were never by yourself. And yeah, I definitely hit a wall hard.
At about what point was that?
Probably, right at 30 kilometers. That's when I realized I had maybe consumed about 160 calories at that point in the race. And I was just under 2 hours in, and I went from feeling really good to my hands were just instantly froze, and my legs started cramping. And that's when I knew, like, I needed to do something to get some calories, and that's when I pulled over and chiseled out my water bottle and was able to get through about half of my
So you made it happen.
Yeah, and the dumb thing is there were about, hindsight's 20/20, about 50 other things I could have done sooner or in preparation, and and I just didn't do them, and so it was definitely a learning experience because it probably, over the course of probably the 8 kilometers or so that I stopped a number of times to try and refuel or warm my hands or change gloves. It probably cost me 15 or so minutes. My mom was watching on the internet my splits.
That's awesome.
And she said she got really worried when they went from like 4 minutes and 15 seconds to 9 minutes. And she was like, I was afraid like you weren't going to finish.
Yeah.
Like,
Did that make a difference when you hit the wall and you confronted it? Did that save the race?
It did, yeah. I mean, it instantly, my body actually started sending blood to my extremities again, and
Excellent.
I could feel my hands, and luckily I had an extra pair of gloves and was able to get those on, and it alleviated a lot of the cramping. For probably about 10 kilometers I couldn't get into a tuck.
Wow.
And so I'd be going down the hill and just bend over and dig my elbows into my thighs, and it was like totally preventable. But at the time was just kind of caught up in that excitement and the just go, and kind of had this idea of like, oh, well, I'll get enough from the little banana pieces at the aid stations, and little banana pieces only carry me so far.
Yeah, especially if it's a little too late.
Yeah, and really cold and all of that.
Yeah.
So it was definitely, that was a big learning experience.
Well, great job. It's even more of an accomplishment to have gone through those struggles, seriously. So great job.
Yeah. It was like, when you pull over to take a break or to get some fuel or warm up your hands, and all of a sudden there were 4 other people that had been like, oh, hey, good idea. You must be having trouble with your water bottle too. It's like, yeah, hi, I'm Sydney. Who are you? Where are you from? And it was kind of...
So that's great. There was a social aspect, and there was a lot of moral support out there. Yeah,
very social. The smallest group of skiers I think I was ever in was probably about 20. Yeah. And at one point I remember getting to the bottom of a hill, and about midway through the race, so we'd caught up. I started in wave 9, and I think I'd caught up to about the wave 7 folks at that point, and I was like, there's 100 people on this hill. I'm going to get behind that guy and do what he does, and wound up just herringboning up the hill because that's what 100 other people were doing.
Yeah.
So
was there a bit of a relief? I totally understand the emotion. Was there a bit of relief once you started and you were underway? After the journey to get there, and you're kind of, it's all yours now, and you're out there, and...
Yeah, very much. At that point it was, and that was kind of what I just kept telling myself was, I can't burn out, like, exciting, but just ski, and, and I think I said back to basics probably 10,000 times in my head.
Was that a mantra?
Yeah, just, it was like getting caught up in the whole thing and then being like, no, this is just what you love to do. Don't feel like you have to push harder or, get frustrated because people are falling in front of you. Like, just go ski. And
did it work?
It was awesome. I had people complimenting my technique at 40 kilometers.
Yeah,
and,
good.
And had some energy left at the end, and like I said, just chatted with people on the trail because you really started to figure out who was gonna be fast on the downhills, which was me, and then who was going to be fast on the uphills, which was the other people. And,
right.
And so we kind of would have this game of leapfrog, and
right.
I was wearing a pair of my pants from high school that had Alaska on them, and so
cool.
everyone was calling me Alaska, and then we had all sorts of other, like, oh, it's Red Hat again, and then
yeah. Oh, that's great, the
yeah.
camaraderie.
Yeah, just a whole lot of folks that I skied the majority of the race with that, just kind of like, okay, let's tackle this hill, we've got a lane on the right, and we'd all kind of switch to the right side and race the right side. I mean, getting to the end and, like, hearing your name as you come up Main Street and getting my
what was that like?
It was amazing. I mean, there's 10,000 people, like, packed into this quarter of a mile stretch, and, it's like, oh, God, this is going to be a really long crowd sprint.
yeah.
But, I mean, everyone's just cheering and cowbells are going and it was just amazing. And then I think there was always, I knew I could go ski 50 kilometers, but didn't know, how would I really hold up when it came to trying to push myself and travel and be in a new place and everything. And so to finish in the range of what I was hoping for a time was, just made it all the better.
Yeah, congratulations. What'd you do to train for this thing?
My training did not go at all how I had planned, which, I mean, I guess that's how it goes a lot of the time. But, I've been training at Elemental for pretty much since we got here, and so I had a pretty good base. And then when you register for the Birkie, and actually it's not just for the Birkie, anyone can get on and get it. There's a full Birkie training plan type of a thing you can get. And so I really tried to focus on that starting in about October, I think. And so followed that for a while and then had injuries with my knee, and I suffer from Achilles tendonitis. And so those, I wound up having some setbacks on my lifting a little bit, but luckily everything felt good skiing. What I wound up doing was generally like a couple of treadmill workouts a week, which 30 minutes on a treadmill and I am over it.
Yeah, but just time on your feet? Is
that
what that was accomplishing?
Yep, exactly. And I pretty much did all of my interval workouts, on the treadmill, or if I could get outside and run. And then I maintained lifting 2 days a week up until I think probably about the middle of December, and then a friend of mine was like, you should come to yoga, and so I started doing lifting 1 day a week, yoga 1 day a week, and then a really long ski. So as soon as I could in like November, started at, my long weekend ski was an hour and a half, and then added 15 minutes every weekend.
What was the longest ski that you did before the race?
I did a 4-hour ski at Beaver Creek.
Wow.
And so that was my...
Sounds like a death march. Good training.
Yeah, and I mean, and it was actually great because I had, there's a lot of folks from Lander that have done the Birkie before, so like Dave Slavinsky and Norm and those guys. I said, do I need to be skiing 50 kilometers at Beaver Creek?
Yeah.
I might die.
Yeah,
and
that'll be harder than the event.
And Dave hit the nail on the head, and he's like, well, I imagine you'll be 4 hours, give or take a half an hour. Don't try to ski 50 kilometers at Beaver Creek. He said, try and ski 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so I really took the distance away from my training time out here and just focused on the time for the training. And I'm really glad because, I mean, I put in 2 4-hour skis up at Beaver Creek, and that was right on with what my time wound up being.
That's great. And then that's with altitude too. So,
yeah. And a lot longer hills.
all hills, in my opinion. Do you have any big events or goals coming up?
I do. I have a few. I'm gonna ride Little Red.
What's that?
It's a 100-mile bike ride in Utah, and all of the money we raise for that goes to cancer research. So there's, I believe, 20-some women from Lander that are going to do that.
What is the date of that?
It's June 4th. And I've been fundraising, and cancer is something that's really close to me, and so I'm just really excited about that ride and being part of this bigger group of women. It's all women that do that ride, and
that's awesome.
And the stories I've heard are just amazing, and so that's going to be really cool. And then in August I'm going to do the Bear Lake Olympic Triathlon.
Oh, great.
Bear Lake Brawl. I did that last year with some other ladies. And
August. So you have a June event and an August event?
Yep. And then I'm planning on the Rock and Roll Marathon in Denver in October. That's kind of going to be that's really what my next kind of big focus will be as soon as this ride is over. The triathlon's just kind of going to be an interim event.
What do you do for training, Sydney? Maybe you could share, like, just in general what your training is to be able to do these types of events and have these options?
I'm a person that really, if I'm not having fun, I won't do it. And so I really just like being outside, doing long backpacking trips with the dog and the husband. And, and I think that winds up being the majority of my training is just either backpacking and hiking or going for long bike rides. And, and then I always try and lift at least once a week. Try being the operative word there.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot better about running. I've always kind of enjoyed running. I'm just not very fast. And that's with my thought on this marathon that I want to do in October is it doesn't matter how fast I go. It's just, something I've always wanted to do. And so I think I'll probably find myself on my feet a lot more this summer. The last few years I've been doing the half marathon, and so about the 4th of July I stopped running. We have a lot of trips into the winds planned, and just kind of want to get out and do long events. I figure as long as I'm having fun, at least I'm maintaining that base, and then I can throw some intervals in from time to time.
Yeah, so what motivates you to be in shape, to train?
Well, one, I think I have a pretty competitive nature, and if I don't have events, I have a really hard time training.
Okay.
But two, I think I am happiest outside, and so if I'm not fit, I can't be happy outside. It becomes a miserable experience to go try and go hiking or go backcountry skiing or something like that. And so I really think, just in order to do the things I love, I need to maintain a level of fitness that those things continue to be fun and enjoyable.
Right. Any tips that you could share with others? There's people who will watch this who want to do an event or wish they could have the options that you have, be at a level of fitness where they can consider events and things. Any tips for them to get started?
I think the bottom line is just getting out and doing it. I've had a lot of ups and downs over the years. When I was in graduate school, I think I gained about 30 pounds and, stopped doing anything except for sitting on my couch writing my thesis and trying to get back up and get motivated to do things was really hard. And I think, it all starts from like going for a walk and just getting outside. And then, I don't know anyone that doesn't really enjoy being outside once they're out there. And so I think that's, some of my most amazing moments have been, 100 yards from the car when I made myself get up at 6 a.m. and caught a sunrise. It was like, it just brings you to tears. It's like, this is why we do it. Like, this is so that I can walk from the car out here at 6 a.m. Like, that makes it all worth it. And I think, picking an event is another great way to get motivated and say, I want to do this. And it doesn't matter if I'm first or last. But, make those goals and achieve them no matter how long it takes to do the event, I think is something that really works well for me as well.
Thank you for taking time out of your weekend
Not a
to
problem.
share with me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.